point of this video wasn't supposed to be boobs, but this is what I'm wearing, so this is what we're dealing with. I'm extremely unapologetic about myself lately, and I like that. Big fan. Okay, so, yeah, right. Five of Swords. Okay. Validation that we're already in the energy. I have no particular anything I'm doing with this read. Just wanted to be kind of fun. Wanted to do it because I'm in a different space for the night. Because I thought that I was moving into my apartment today, but actually it's not until tomorrow. So, I'm a little closer to my apartment and in a different space. So, I like the vibes. I wanted to work with the vibes. See what the vibes are like. So far so good. I've been feeling creative. I did this up to my hand, so that was fun. So let's come out with a general reading, and we'll see what the subject matter is and what crazy things I start to talk about. I've been being really wild today. Not in general, I've just been like being a silly goose, you know, saying a lot of silly stuff on the internet. I found this page for anyone who's interested. It's called a group where we give people really bad advice. Something along those lines. I've always I've not gone around like, oh, I give such good advice, but I have fancied myself somebody that does give pretty good advice. I didn't realize how good I am at giving really bad advice. And it's just so funny the comments other people come up with things. And it's one of those things that if you're going through something serious, it's kind of funny to make light of it that way, and it actually helps you to kind of process things in a different way and just look at it from a different perspective. So I don't know, I found it funny. Maybe you guys would, but that really put me in this mood today where I'm just being a goofball, just being a big old goofball. Okay, I think I want one more. I have okay. Then can I have one more face down for a clarifier? That's not face down though. Oh, so close. So close, but you flipped over, baby. So I'm going to put you guys back in the deck. I need one more face down for a clarifier. And then we shall begin. Thank you. Okay. Alright, I haven't actually looked at these. Oh, there was one hiding. I need one more clarifier. Need one more. Face down, please. One more. Face down, please. One more. Face down. Clarifier. You're gonna tell me which ones to clarify for, so you can choose. But I need it face down, please. I'm gonna look at the ones that you give me face up. I want my clarifiers face down, please. Thank you. One more clarifier face down. That isn't what I asked for. Okay. Angel, spirits, guides, ancestors, please give me what I'm asking for. Trying to have a good time with y'all. Chill out, bro. Being a little annoying. Okay. But for real, face down. Just one card, face down, please. Any energies that are in here that are not trying to have a good time right now, go to sleep. Okay, because I'm trying to have a good time right now. Okay, you go take a rest. Old man. Whoever you are. I'm trying to have a good time. I just need one more clarifier, and I need it to be face down so that I can know that it's my clarifying card. Okay, fine. Sure. We can do that. wants me to get these in some sort of order prior to clarifying, because it wants to know what we're clarifying. I'm not looking at these cards right yet to read them, so don't mind me. We've got these and these. That's okay, sure. I love that. I love it. Okay. One more clarifier, please. You can see the card. I'm not looking at it. You can see it. Give me a clarifier. Face down. Face down. Fine, I'll put it to the side, but what I would really like is a clarifier face down, please. I'm going to shuffle 2 more times. If you don't give me a clarifier face down, then I will take this as the clarifier, but okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, don't. Okay. So I don't know what we're talking about yet. The cards that I have are 4 of Pentacles in the upright, the Ace of Wands in the upright. I'm going to quit hitting this table so hard because I think that's why this is tipping. The Empress, but in the reverse. Right in the middle of the Empress in reverse. The Knight of Swords in the upright. And the Page of Wands in reverse. Oh, you guys don't like this? It's not about the boobs, but it's also not like, jeez, okay. All right. We're turning our clarifiers over. Okay. Separate these like this. The Empress in reverse, I'm starting in the middle. The Empress in reverse with the Knight of Cups in the upright as the clarifier. The Knight of Swords in the upright with the 3 of Cups as the clarifier. The Page of Wands in reverse with the 10 of Swords as the clarifier. The Ace of Wands in the upright with the 7 of Swords as the clarifier. And the 4 of Pentacles in the upright with the 8 of Wands as the clarifier. Holding on to my concepts of material wealth and abundance is like throwing all of my wands in one direction. It's like having this preset notion, this idea that I know what that's supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like. But my confidence can be misinterpreted because of arrogance. My confidence can be misinterpreted as arrogance. Both. Fighting for what I believe in is a good thing, and it's good for others, and that's what I attempt to do. But the lack of opportunity tends to leave me feeling depressed or unstable or incapable. Ultimately, all of these shadow aspects are a reflection of the Empress in reverse. And the Empress is in reverse because she's waiting on a Knight of Cups, which is not very Empress of her. I don't know exactly who I'm talking to right now, to be honest, because if I were talking to myself personally, I would be talking to like a past version of myself. I know I recently had a conversation kind of about these things with a dude that I randomly met that wanted to pursue me romantically, and I considered it. I mean, I let him know kind of off the bat, but like that's not where I'm at in my life. Like, that's not what I'm necessarily looking for. That's not what I'm not pursuing him in that fashion. But I wasn't trying to be closed off to it either. But in my considerations of it, I realized that like my less than gung-ho-ness about it was coming from my recognition of where he is in his own healing path and his own path in his own world, and how a step towards him would be a step backwards for me, because he is someone waiting on that cup, that Knight of Cups, in order to feel like the Empress. And like, he's a super sweet guy. He is very empathetic towards people, but at the same time, he struggles with personal relationships because of his insecurities. But the issue that I had with him, because that's something I can relate to, you know, but like the issue that I had was that he was not willing to be self-aware. He considered himself to have already done enough work, and he just wanted to keep doing the work that he's already done, and that should be enough. And why isn't it enough? And like, I've been there. I totally get it. I'm not dogging on this person by any stretch of the imagination. I've literally been there. And I caught myself having like an extremely embittered heart that was jealous, and that was greedy, and that was stubborn, and less than generous. And it was coming from this concept that I have done enough. I determined that I had, because I was exhausted. And because the work that I had done was genuine, when like I hadn't truly been genuine fully in the past. So like, choosing to be genuine and then doing the genuine work, like, where's the reward for that? What's going to make me want to keep doing the good thing and the right thing if there isn't an innate reward for it? You know, like, being mad at the universe in that way. Like, how are you going to expect me to do good and be a good person if you're not going to reward me for it? When, like, I was outwardly projecting to myself and to others that I was a decent person, that I was a genuine person, that I was the most genuine person. That's why I was constantly being victimized by my experiences, because I was so genuine, and how dare they not recognize that and then reward me for it. Obviously, saying it out loud you can hear the connotations that didn't seem present when I was just feeling those things in my heart. And I think that that's what's like so important about being able to communicate our shadow aspects, and just where we're at whenever we're there. We don't have to be perfect. There is no ideal for any individual. And it's important to, like, not hold those things against ourselves so that we can properly communicate, so that we can actually hear out loud, like, how silly we sound when we say those things. Like, the thing about this dude in particular, and, like, I'm not, you know, y'all have no idea who I'm talking about, and he's never going to see this video for as much as I know. But even if he does, like, he'll understand, you know. But, like, it's harsh to say, but, like, you know, he's a man who's, like, struggled with his weight his entire life. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. And I know what sort of things go on behind the scenes when it comes to those things. But it's like, until I'm in my perfect shape, which I am not, so, like, and, like, I'm still, like, cutting corners and stuff at different times. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with me enjoying myself. I got soda, which I hadn't had for a week, but I got soda today. It's the Coke Zero, so it doesn't have calories. It doesn't have sugar. Which is better, but at the same time, it's also, like, worse for me because it has who even fucking knows what on top of it. And, like, that concept, what he had said to me was, like, I just don't know what more work I could possibly do. It's not exactly what he said, but essentially, like, that's how he felt. And it was a defense against being called out. So I didn't push it anymore because obviously I wasn't getting anywhere with him. But, like, in my head, I'm just thinking, like, if you know that you're not, like, I'm just thinking, like, to myself, like, if it were me, like, if I can sit here and look in the mirror and be like, fuck, I'm, like, so close to having the body that I want, but it just takes, like, this extra hard work that I just haven't been willing to do yet. Like, that's just me being honest with myself. Like, how could I literally look at myself with all of this extra fat on my body and be like, I can't possibly imagine what more work I could have to do. I've already done enough. Like, we've really, truly never done enough, to be clear. Like, I remember having a sort of argument with my mom when I was probably, like, 14, and back then, like, I was a strong Christian, like, and I was struggling with the surface level sort of Christianity that both my parents, but especially my mom, seemed to be existing in, or, like, believing in, or, like, exempling, or, like, being, you know, there was a lot of different issues I was having with different theologies that were being taught to me while other theologies were being expected of me. And it was like, where are the discrepancies when it comes to these things? And I remember, like, coming to the understanding myself that, like, faith and the importance of faith and the purpose of faith in my own life was so that, like, I could continue seeking. I should always be seeking. And that the truth meant that, like, I shouldn't be afraid of, why would I be afraid of science? Why would I be afraid of, like, other religions? Why would I be afraid of other cultures when, like, if I really truly believed that what I had was the truth, then like, nothing can, like, interfere with that. Nothing can come between that. Like, if I really do believe that this is, like, the one true highest God that I'm worshiping, why would I be afraid of smaller gods or other gods or, like, concepts of gods that don't really exist? Like, if I really thought that this was the one thing that trumped everything else and that, like, there was no room for anything else, then, like, why would I be worried about other things trying to make room for themselves? Like, they'll see their way out in the light of the truth, as long as I just hold to that. And I remember trying to have that conversation with my mom, and more, like, even when I brought up the conversation, I was frustrated because, like, I brought it up, like, because to me, I was going through this process of, like, a maturation of faith, and she took it as an argument. And then she started, you know, what she told me, and I remember it. Like, I remember that we were driving in the car, and that we were, like, right by the park, off of the highway near our house, like, on our way into Paddock Lake. There's a park and a beach to the right side, which I think now is a dog park, I don't know, or like I don't know. It's a public park. And pretty Old Settlers Park, I think is what it's called. And I remember that because I remember, like, kind of looking at the window and just being, like, so amazed at her response and so just, like, struck by it and frustrated with it. But her response was like, I already have the truth. I don't need to keep searching. Like, I already have what I need, so why would I keep looking for anything different? And I remember being like, that's not even what I'm saying. And, like, it's not that you're seeking for anything different. It's that, like, you're not closing yourself off to the rest of the world that exists. Like, because you have what you have, you should be able to go out and, like, learn everything and do everything. And she was just like, no, I'm fully contented with what I already know. And at the same time, like, I just felt like that wasn't, like, reflective at all of genuine faith. Like, not genuine Christian faith. Well, that's why I stopped claiming Christianity, because when you say Christian, it means something very specific these days, and that is definitely not what I believe. It's also not what Jesus taught. In fact, what most people refer to as Christianity these days is the exact thing Jesus came and taught against, which is, like, this conglomerate of belief systems that, like, everybody is supposed to adhere to, that, like, are deeply political at their core, and, like, I don't know. That's, like, a whole nother subject. And again, like, obviously that gets a lot into just my opinion over anything else. Yeah, I think it's very important to always be willing to do the work. Always consider that there's more work to be done. Never, not to be discontented. I was highly contented in the idea that my faith could be so strong that nothing could interfere with it. Like, I didn't have to suppress everything. I didn't have to limit everything. I didn't have to, like, live life in a box. Like, that was the most freeing thing to me. And then to have somebody be like, I'm more mature in faith, and this is actually what it's like. It's like not letting yourself do anything else. Meanwhile, like, you know, this is also coming from somebody who, like, if you asked them to read verses aloud, like, they wouldn't even be reading them right. Like, me and my dad pointed that out to my mom, that, like, every time that she would, like, reiterate different verses and stuff, like, she was, like, summarizing them into her own opinion of what they were supposed to mean and her own personal, like, feeling about them, and then, like, stating them as if that was like, as if she were quoting them. And he was like, that's not even, go read your Bible. Like, what does it actually say? Like, take out your Bible, and what's it say? And, like, multiple different times, like, she doesn't actually quote the things properly. And, like, even if she's sitting there reading it, like, she was just reading what she wanted to see. And it was like, that's not even what it says. Those aren't even the words that are on the page. Like, how can you read something and, like, not even... But that's what's so crazy about the Bible, too, is because, like, if you go to church and have somebody else preaching to you about what it says, you don't have to read it for yourself. You've already been told what it says, so, like, you can sit there and be like, no, I already know that this is what Psalm 23 says. So, like, you can sit there and recite Psalm 23 when, like, you're looking at it, but, like, no, you aren't. And you're not, like, every single time you read a sacred text, like, if you're actually going at it, looking at it in a sacred fashion, you should be able to pull something new out of it every single time you go to it. Not go to it and be like, yep, this is the thing, and I can use this now as a weapon against everything else. Like, every single time I read the Tao Te Ching, it has a, 70-something or so, do I have it here? No, it's in the car right now. It has like 70 or so, something like that, like little proverbs in it. I've read that thing multiple times. I've had that book I got it in 2016 from a friend. I've read those things so many times. Like, the book is like very used at this point, like extremely used. And every single time I read those clips, even if I get the same thing out of it, I get a deeper understanding from it. And that's because it's a sacred text. So the way I'm going about it isn't just like I'm reading something silly just to make me feel some type of way. Like, I'm reading it to receive from it. Like, it's how the Holy Spirit works. Like, so that you can have your own discernment. You don't have to listen to somebody behind the pulpit if you know how to read. The only reason we even had people preaching behind pulpits was because there used to be a time where the general public didn't know how to read for themselves. So priests would go to school and learn how to understand the text so that they could give it to the people. Now that we have the capacity to read it for ourselves, I don't understand why there's Christian churches. That's crazy. That's crazy. It doesn't even make any sense. And it's not like the Jewish temples where they're like actively like teaching you the text and teaching you to learn the text and teaching you to read them for yourselves that way. Like, it isn't like that. If the Christian churches were like that, I wouldn't have a problem with them. But I do have a problem with them because I ain't seen one yet. Even the good ones, even the ones that are like taking care of the poor and taking care of the widows and taking care of the children, like, they're still propagating brainwashing agendas. Like, it's all mind control. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all so much not what it's supposed to be. It's literally like the very things that Jesus was talking about to get rid of and stop doing, and it's not helpful. And like, we each can have our own personal relationship with the one true God, source creator. Like, you don't have to believe in those things. That's like, I'm not trying to preach like those things are, but it's the same thing, like I said in a different video, where like there is, like, just like Bob Dylan had said, like, there is a source of life force that exists within the universe, and we all have access to it because we are all living beings. Like, it's not for anybody else to be told what it is. It's for every individual to determine for themselves what that is, and then to hold themselves accountable to that. And that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it so, like, capable. Because I can't do shit. Like, I can only do what I can do, right? And I'm just one person, and I only have my experiences, and I only have my opinions, and my preferences, and what's good for me. And I'm just one person, so like, my body, like, what's good for me isn't good for everybody, like, you know, in that way. But at the same time, what's truly good for me is good for everybody, as long as I'm doing what's right and good for me. Does that make sense? I don't know if I've phrased that properly, but as individuals, we're each a part of a greater whole. So if we are damaging ourselves, if we are over-giving ourselves, if we are compromising ourselves, if we are suppressing ourselves, we are doing that to the whole, to at least an aspect of the whole, which is ultimately not taking care of the whole. Okay, but the whole collective itself doesn't share one singular universal truth outside of the truth that each individual deserves to care for themselves, and to be cared for by the collective. But like, the universal truth, like, doesn't exist. Like, you don't have to sit here and crusade the name of your God into people's hearts and lives. The truth will speak for itself. Just speak the truth. Like, I'd said in the last, I think it was the last video where I was talking about my mom arguing the name of God, and it was like, where did you even learn that? Because you're not sitting here going to seminary. You're not studying the ancient Greek and Hebrew of the Bible. So, like, where are you getting the name of God in the Bible? From a man behind a pulpit who has done the work for you and stated this is what it is. And I'm not saying don't trust that person. I'm saying don't sit here and crusade things that aren't coming directly from you and your relationship with God. She's going to sit here and try to cut me down and try to start a bitter argument over something she just now started believing. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, and it's not Christian. But it is Christian. That's what Christianity means now. Like I said in another video, Trump is a Christian. You know? Kanye is a Christian. Like, that's what Christianity looks like now. And that's why the world is so fucked up. Like, it's not just that, but that concept on a deeper level, like, speaks for a lot. And, like, the spread is, like, you know, a personal depiction of what that looks like broken down, you know. It's our concept of our security and our maturity and our stability and our abundance. It's a concept of our truth and our power and our purpose. It's a concept of our passions and our callings. It's a concept of our opportunities and our guiding forces. When under the surface, those very things are us throwing everything we've got at one place in hopes that we hit the target, leaving us without anything afterwards. You know, it's like putting all of our eggs in one basket. It's a greediness of, I already have everything I could possibly need in this very moment, but there's still more to be had. So how can I take that? How can I get those things? I don't need to be grateful for everything I have right now when I can still look around and see that there's more to be had. It's, you know, who else is going to come and save me? What else is going to come and take me away from the things I keep doing to myself? What is going to fill this void that isn't me? And definitely isn't me doing the work required to fill the void for myself. Who can I find that will commune with me in these concepts so that I can validate to myself that they're true? Because the more people that come together under one spirit, the more powerful that spirit becomes. So even if it's something we're pulling straight out of our asses and just creating out of nothing, as long as there's a bunch of us believing in it, it becomes a valid reality. How can we hide from our innate depression and our innate fears? And how can we play the victim to things that we're doing to ourselves or unwilling to do for ourselves? And why does nobody care about us when we don't care for ourselves? Like, we wonder why we feel like the Empress in reverse. We feel like we should have everything, right? Just like I was saying with like that guy and like with who I've been in the past. Like, I've been a good person. I've done my best. I've been patient. I've worked hard. I've paid my bills. I haven't killed anybody. So like, I've done everything already. Why am I not rich and famous and hot and, you know, whatever other vain thing people could hope for? Like, as if happiness isn't so much deeper than that, and contentment isn't so much deeper than that, and the truth isn't so much deeper than that. 5 of Pentacles, clarified by the Sun in reverse. We feel sick, we feel poor, we feel incapable, we feel like there's a grand injustice that's happening. We walk past the churches, we walk past the banks or the buildings or the people in their houses. We see outside of ourselves all of the people, places, and things that are receiving abundance that we don't have. And we question to ourselves, like, how dare they? You know, here's a giant cathedral that could, all this space could be, you know, giving us a home when we're walking in the cold snow without shoes. But instead, we're walking in the cold snow without shoes. Well, there's a warm building right there without us inside of it. And, like, you know, how dare they have these gorgeous stained glass windows? I wonder how much it cost for somebody to make those when, like, I can't even afford to fix my broken foot. I can't even afford, you know, to a warmer blanket to wrap around myself in this winter. Who's going to care for us? How is it that all of these different things can exist and be cared for when I'm not cared for? How is it that the rich just keep getting richer, but I'm still poor? But what work are we doing to remove ourselves from that? Because our sun is in reverse. We're believing ourselves to be innocent, but we're victimizing ourselves. We are preying on our own innocence and then wondering why we're not being rewarded for it. We are already free. Life happens to all of us. And I truly, truly do believe that there isn't a single thing that happens in this life to anyone that isn't beyond what is best for that individual. I've had some fucked up shit happen in my life. Some crazy shit. Like crazy, crazy shit, right? And I've had other people tell me, like, they don't even understand what the fuck. And they don't understand how I've survived. And they really can't even comprehend the things that I've been through. And it's hard for them to process those things as even valid or true, because they couldn't imagine going through those things and being where I am today because of it. Meanwhile, you know how many people I've met in my life that I could say the same things about? It's all a matter of perspective. And in that truth, there's not a thing outside of our experience that's like doing anything. There's not like some evil out there trying to take us down. There's not some grand old God out there trying to give us all of these different rewards, you know, like, and we gotta fight this bad guy. Like, it's all us. It's all just us. It's all just our perception. It's all just our capacity to receive those things. It's all just like our willingness to receive those things and to make the most. I had seen, I'd posted actually, this image of, who is it, Orson Welles, I believe, and somebody is asking him, which I don't know these people's like personal lives very well. I know their works more than anything. And even then I don't often I don't know a lot about a lot. Okay. But in this image, like, I know who Orson Welles is. I know of, like, you know, 1984 and stuff. But he's asked if his poverty ever added to his creativity or aided his creativity. And he's like, no. Which is funny and ironic. And when I first saw it, I resonated with it, and so I posted it. But then I considered it later on and was like, truly, Like, yes, the first initial thought that I had was like, has my parents robbing me my entire life really helped me, like, get somewhere for, like, has furthered my creativity to, like, bring me to where I wanted to be with it? Like, no. Because, like, did my client's grandson destroying literally over 20 years worth of art in the matter of 5 minutes help my creativity? Like, initially I said I was thinking no, and like in that same sort of way that Orson Welles had said it, because it was like, because he did War of the Worlds, I believe, too. You know, and like, no, because had those things not happened, I assume that like, had like, you know, somebody like taking my art and then, you know, marketing it for themselves and making a whole bunch of money off of it without ever putting my name on any of it or giving me a cut of anything or even like being nice to me in public because of it. Like, did that help my creativity? Like, well, technically no, because had those things not happened, like, I assume that like I'd probably, you know, have a lot more social influence with my art by now, or like would have like made more money with my art by now or whatever. But at the same time, like, that's not really true. That's just a matter of perspective and perception, and really like everything that I've ever experienced has helped me to get where I am today. And in fact, I continue to pull from all of my experiences in order to continue to grow and to develop and to mature. And that's my freedom. And how I put it when I reposted my thought with it was something along the lines of like, truly it's come down to my creativity as to if I'm able to pull something better out of those experiences or not. So like, has it aided my creativity? Like, absolutely. Not that, you know, just like the thing, like, not that like those that cause us harm or that break us down or that steal from us or that like make things harder on us have any claim to who we become upon using those things for our betterment. Because I didn't have to use those things for my betterment. I could have used those things to just complain about everything that's bad that's ever happened to me and then hold it against them and then, you know, fight for my victimhood so much that like I get paid out for it. Could have gone that route. You know what I mean? Like, I could have gone a lot of different routes, to be honest. And that none of it, like, that's all within my power. So nobody that's ever harmed me, and then I've taken that and alchemized it and then become a better person for it, has claim to the better person that I am today because of it. They were just a shitty person doing a shitty thing. It was within my power and it was my choice, and then it is proof of my alchemy that I took those things and became a better person. And, you know, no amount of gaslighting is going to take that from me. And you shouldn't let it take it from you either, because people will try, because they have nothing better to do with themselves, because they know that they're pieces of shit and that all that they've offered people is pieces of shit. And they hope that you will take it and alchemize it into something better, so then they can feel a way about themselves. And if you let them feel a way about themselves, then they're not being held accountable to their actions. I've began really being adamant to not let people, like, why do I keep losing this sticker? To not let people give me the energy that is meant for them to process. Not that I'm strong enough, but like, I have my own life that gives me what I need. Like, I have my own experiences that give me what I need from them. I don't need to alchemize your experiences for you. And even if I choose to take those things and it makes me a better person, great, but I don't need to, and you're certainly not going to guilt me into it. Like, I don't care how bad you feel that I don't want to take on your responsibility, emotionally or otherwise, but like, I've done enough. And like, truly, it shouldn't have been taken that. Like, it's the same concept where, like, I look like my body when I'm naked. I look like I've had 4 kids already. I haven't had a single child. But I don't have to have had children in order to feel valid for not liking everything the way it is, or for wanting a certain type of work to be done in order to get to where I want to be. Like, I don't need to do anything more to be valid. I am valid. I'm already valid. Like, people don't have to go through everything that I've been through in order to be valid. Everyone is already valid just as they are. You just have to receive that and accept that and then work with that. Like, it's not for anybody else to work with. And that's something that I had told that guy that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Where, like, I got a very, like, potent air of codependency from him. And so I expressed to him that I didn't have the energy for that, and that I wasn't going to be taking that on, and that if he was willing to dig deep and do the work to not put that on me, I would be more than happy to continue to be friends with him. I expressed myself deeper. I expressed it in a way that he let me know that he understood what I was saying. But it came down to that thing where he was like, I was like, you know, we had made plans to hang out with each other. And come to the time that I woke up that day, the day that we had made plans to hang out with each other, and was exhausted, emotionally, energetically drained from the time that I had spent with him the night prior. We talked for several hours, a couple hours, and I gave him a couple hugs that were very, like he, like, squeezed me, right? And, like, it felt like he needed that, but at the same time, like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I feel like it felt very vampiric, and I know that he wasn't doing it intentionally. I know that he felt like he needed that, but, like, you don't need me. What you need is to be fulfilled within yourself. I only have so much to give to myself, let alone to anyone else. And, like, you can't, I don't even know you. Like, you can't sit here and wait around for me to be able to give you what it is that you need. And, like, you've already, like, it's pretty obvious that, like, you struggle with gluttony. So, like, how are you going to sit here and be gluttonous with my energy and expect me just to continue to feed you it? Like, that's crazy. And I'm not going to do it. And, like, if after spending even just a short time with you, I, the next day, like, have to seriously replenish myself because of how depleted I am, that's a problem. And that's what I expressed to him. And he was like, well, now I just feel really sad and I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, what you're feeling right now is what you wanted me to feel. You were just hoping that I would alchemize it because I feel bad for you, and that I would just put it behind me, and then we could just continue to cycle through this. But, like, I can't take that energy on. I'm in self-care mode right now myself. That's what you should be in. Like, you shouldn't be out here, like, because he had also expressed to me that he was trying to pursue me romantically. And I was like, that's not where we need to be. That's not where you need to be. You are obviously not in a place to, like, be doing that. And, like, pretty sure you expressed that to me. So, like, I'm just, you know, trying to remind you, like, this is all incredibly unhealthy, you know, and I'm not going to be made to feel responsible to care for what you're not willing to care for yourself. I'm not going to do that. I cannot do that. That's crazy. You know, like, I'm well aware of the struggle I have to not give in to my gluttonous and lustful desires for very unhealthy food. So, like, I don't put it on anybody else that I am overweight and out of shape. Am I making up for the things that I'm eating by exercising very well every single day? No. No, I'm doing the bare minimum. And that's the best that I have right now. So that's what I'm working with. But, like, that's not anybody else's responsibility. So, like, how am I going to sit here and be like, well, I know that I'm out of shape and overweight, but you're the bad guy if you don't find me perfect. I'm not perfect right now, and I very easily could be if I could just get on top of those things. Granted, there's a lot that has gone on that has allowed me to be in this space where that is where I've chosen to kind of spoil myself. I shouldn't say it like that because, well, it's spoiling rotten. Like, it's not a good thing. But where I've, like, you know, let myself be this way because I've been taking care of so many other things. Like, even the guy at the spa had said that, where he was like, well, because he had heard about my work, like the work that I'd been doing the last couple months, and he was like, which is why I gained 30 pounds, because I was working and I was stress eating. But that's not necessarily an excuse still, right? And like he had said, like, well, you've been, you know, just focused on other things and taking care of other things. And it's like, that's true, but that's not good enough. Like, that wasn't a valid excuse even when I was stress eating. And I could tell myself that, but then I would make the choice to continue to stress eat. And, like, by stress eating, I'm talking about, like, not eating all day, drinking way too much caffeine and a whole bunch of sugary drinks and stuff all throughout the day, and then at, like, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, getting entire meals, like, multiple different things, like, you know, 3 different full-ass containers from Chinese restaurants with, like, egg rolls on the side, getting, like, 2 medium pizzas and breadsticks, or like 1 large pizza and 2 things of breadsticks, or like getting all of this food and then just like gorging, like just going to town on it. Like, I was well aware that I was engaging in unhealthy activity, and I wasn't trying to make excuses for it, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it now. It's what I was doing. The consequences of that are that I gained 30 fucking pounds, and now I'm not as comfortable with myself in my skin, and now it requires work to get back to where I am comfortable with myself. That's the reality of things. Like, and that's just the first step, the acknowledgement. There's actual work that has to continue to be done. I've been doing it, but now I'm splurging a little bit. Am I going to keep myself back on track? Am I going to let myself have a little bit of splurge and then tomorrow ensure that I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do? I don't know. Each day and every day I have to continue to do the work. That's how it works. There isn't an excuse for it. Like, and it doesn't matter how depressed you get, or how many people are dying around you, or how much money you do or don't have. Like, those things are all still excuses. Trust me, I've been there. I've lost absolutely everything, everyone, like, had nothing, not a penny to my fucking name, multiple times, hadn't had family support, or support from a partner, or support from friends. I had people actively on top of that, robbing me, or trying to kill me. I've been assaulted back and forth, like, throughout all of these different things. There's always something going on, right? Yes, those are all major things. Yeah, I truly wasn't in control of a lot of those things, but at the same time, I'm still always in control of my responses to those things. And as long as I'm going to validate that it's okay for me to use those things as an excuse to not do what I deserve for myself and to give myself my best, then I can't really complain when the best isn't being given to me, right? Like, how am I going to sit here and gaslight the universe into giving me what I want when I'm not giving myself what I want? That's what we have to quit doing. you know, and I say these things like in like referring to myself because I am the worst about it, right? Like I get it, but there truly isn't an excuse. There really isn't. I mean, we can all come up with excuses, and like I said, like that's the worst thing with the Three of Cups is like we can literally all get together and like as long as I have enough people tell me like, oh, but you know, you went through this thing and this person did this thing to you and you haven't had this and you know, you're still good with these things and these things, so like you don't even have to worry about that. Like if that's what I want to do, then like 5 years down the line I can't wonder why fucking nothing has changed and why I'm still feeling the way I'm feeling in my skin. Like get real. For real. Get real. Grow up. It only hurts to hear when you don't want to hear it. But if you want to hear the truth, if you love the truth and you want the truth and what you want isn't a lie and what you want isn't like excuses, then you're not going to feel hurt by those things. They're going to help motivate you. That's really what it comes down to, too. You have to want it. You have to actually want it. Just be honest, at least. At least. Be like, you know what? I guess I don't want it that bad. It wasn't hurtful. Like, it was a good thing for me to get to the point of being like, you know what? I kind of like being a little bit fat, actually. Obviously, I have to, because if I didn't, I would do something about it. But, like, I only do so much because I'm actually comfortable being a little bit fat. It's not the worst thing in the world. And at least I'm being honest about it. Instead of being like, no, all I want is to just have the perfect body. You know, while I'm eating fucking 2 pizzas at a time. Like, get real. Sorry, I'm not trying to be such a dick, but like, sometimes we need to hear things that way, you know? We need it to be a little straightforward and not sugar-coated, you know? This reading ain't sugarcoating shit. And the truth doesn't sugarcoat shit. And I don't think you would really want shit sugar-coated. I think you would want to know that it's shit and to be like, nope, you know what? I don't want that. Than to have somebody dip it in sugar and be like, it's a sweet treat. Then again, you know, what the fuck are most of the things we eat as Americans, but sugar-coated shit, you know. This doesn't even have sugar in it, and it's still sugar-coated shit, so it's not like I'm not guilty, even when I say these things. That's the importance of being honest, you know, because it does confront us, and the more honest we tend to be, the more we tend to move away from those things. You know, we can keep making excuses. We shouldn't, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't. I'm really not a fan of excuses, to be honest. That's what, like, that Facebook page I was talking about, like, it's funny because of that. Like, I found myself, like, talking very satirically in that way. Where it's almost like that, like, somebody asks a serious question, but, like, in that group where, like, you're not expecting a serious answer. And so the responses that you get are something like, well, you could just make excuses. Or it's like when you say it like that, like suddenly you realize like how silly it sounds and you're like, oh, yeah, actually that is what I was doing, but you're right. That is bad advice. It's actually quite healthy, I think, sometimes to look at things that way. You know, in the negative. That's the whole point of the shadow. So that you can really see yourself that way. I know I personally hate my shadow at certain angles. Some angles are great. Some angles I look at myself and I'm like, damn, I actually feel okay about myself. But other times, all the time, there's a certain angle that I can see myself in my shadow, and I look so dumb because I have big boobs. And the way that they look in my shadow is like, here's like my normal form, and then there's just like these things just coming off. Certain angles, like, oh, the big boobs look great. But there's other angles where like the sun's like kind of like up and behind me, where like it looks so stupid. It just looks so dumb. And it literally like no matter where I am, like there's just like this extra like mass in my shadow, and it's so stupid. Okay, so like we don't always like what we see. And it's like, even then, like, I can look down and be like, no, they look great, but my shadow will tell me otherwise, you know? And those things, too, like, are a matter of perception. We'll look in the mirror, and then we'll take a photo of ourselves, or then people will see us, and it's like 3 different people going on. 3 different ways to view yourself, you know? Some days, everything lines up. Not all the time, though. And I think that those things are important to consider, because, like, sometimes we are in alignment and, like, don't even know how that happened. Sometimes we're not happy with the alignment when it happens, the way that everybody sees us, the fact that all of those things are always exposed. Sometimes it's to our benefit, you know, but it's all to our benefit if we choose to make it that way. That's the importance of the alchemy, you know. Is that we can turn anything to gold. We can turn nothing to gold. It's our choice. It's what we do with it. It's always what we do with it. And I'm going to leave you with that. All right, thanks for listening. Hope you have a good time. And I will see you probably tomorrow. I don't know. And I also don't know when I'm going to post these, but maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Okay. Bye.